Do you want to know how you can tell the difference between a handmade silk carpet and a machine-made one that is sold as a handmade carpet? Watch this video. We're going to show you how we can tell the difference between handmade silk carpets and machine-made carpets. Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of mprugs.com. My name is Mike. I'm the moderator in a series of videos that is all about handmade carpets from around the world. Welcome you to our channel. Hope you and your family are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be featuring a couple of rugs that the pictures were sent to us by viewers of our YouTube channel. And they wanted to know if the carpets that they purchased are as were advertised, and they were sold as handmade carpets. And they wanted to know if we can take a look at the rugs and whether we can determine whether they are machine made or, as in the case of the two pieces that you see right here, whether these are genuine handmade. And so if you have carpets yourself, if you are a passionate rug collector, or if you enjoy the silk carpets, and you want to know about how you can know the differences and how you as a beginner or as an amateur, as a passionate rug owner, how you yourself can determine whether a carpet is handmade or machine made, watch this video. I'm going to give you several tips, 5 important tips, as well as a couple of personal tips on what you can do to determine these for yourself. So first of all, I want to thank Derek and Nick for allowing me to use their pictures, and this is something that I do in many of my other videos as well. We have viewers as well as clients to our website at mprugs.com. They send me pictures, and this is something that I do in fact, I have a link to the video below in the description in which I show you what type of pictures I need in order to be able to give you a quick opinion about the rug that you have. I always tell up front, I am neither an expert, nor do I claim to be one, nor do I care for people who call themselves experts, since I think we have all seen that every time there's someone in front of a camera pretending to be something, there is another one, so-called expert, who'd be more than happy to refute it. So I always tell folks, I grew up in the rug business. I will give you my 2 cents if that's what you want. But I also encourage you to ask others for their opinion. I'm not one to basically try to persuade you that I'm an expert or anything. But I get these questions all the time. And like I said, link below. The link is below in the description, the video that tells you what kind of pictures I need. And in this case, we have Derek and we have Nick. Both of them have purchased silk carpets. One of them, as you can tell, this is Derek's piece. It's very similar, and this is also why I hung up this Gobat piece. As you can see here, it's a teardrop, very popular Gobat design. And the question that he had was, he submitted several pictures, and the questions he had was whether or not these are genuine pieces, the genuine rug that he bought, because he was told that it was handmade. And so I gave him my opinion, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, with his permission, of course. I asked him if I can showcase his rug because it's a perfect example. I'm going to show you why. What it is that I noticed that made me believe that his rug is machine made, and I welcomed him to get second opinions. And then I'm going to do the same for Nick's. Like I said, we have Nick and we have Derek. Nick's, and I think I may have gotten them mixed up. Nick had the Gombat piece, and Derek has the classic piece. And so, first things come first. Let me show you I'm going to first give you guys my 5 tips on what you can do. Number 1, and this is something where experience, just basically, like I said, being in my 50s, I grew up on these types of things. This is what I've done all my life. So when I look at the picture, and in his case, we have, I always tell my viewers, send me a picture of the whole rug. I don't need a high resolution picture. I don't need to get big fancy, nothing elaborate. Just take your phone, take a picture of it. And here is a picture about 1 megabyte in size. And the picture tells me a lot about it. Not so much in terms of quality and everything, but generally speaking, the picture of the whole rug gives me a certain type of understanding what I have. And that, then I can go from that and expand on that. So, first thing, tip number 1, and these are based on the pictures that Nick has sent me, and again, I'm just going to use his as example here as an example to show you. Here it is, the Gombat piece. This is handmade. This is 100% handmade. The same thing with the one that I'm standing in front of. There's another Gombat design. These are both pure silk Gom rugs. Number 1, take a look at the 2 pictures. On the right side, you will have Nick's with the Gombat design. On the left side, you will see ours. And a lot of the machine-made rugs, and this is something that started about 10 years ago. They were very basic back then, but they have become very high-tech, and it's becoming more and more difficult to know the differences. And you will also notice that more and more stores are selling them as genuine pieces. But on one hand, you have Nick's piece right here, and you will notice I have circled the area at the end of the pile where the fringes start, and you will notice that there is stitching. That stitching is classic and machine-made carpets. The pile was made by machine. The fringes are then added by hand. This is done deliberately to make the buyer believe that he is getting a handmade rug. The dealers will oftentimes hold up the rugs, point to the fringes, and literally have the clients focus on them, when in reality, this is machine made, and the little wool that you see, the knots in the back, that the weave that was added, this is to cover up the area where the fringes were added to the pile. You will notice on the genuine handmade piece to your left, you do not see that. On genuine, and there's another picture of the other Gom rug, you will always have the fringes simply sticking out, and you will have a little, they weave in the very bottom. You can see the little string right there that was knotted in, and that's simply to keep the pile from unraveling. But you do not have any stitching. That is the number 1 telltale sign. If you see, like in Nick's case and in Derek's case, you see the little area in the bottom with the fringes, that's a big warning that it is machine made. Number 2, natural silk versus synthetic silk. You will notice when you look at these 2 pictures, again, we have Nick's to the right, we have ours to the left. You will notice how they look differently and how they feel different. Natural silk, the fibers are almost like glued together. This is natural silk. Whereas in the synthetic silk, they kind of get they get undone. You can see the little pieces of hair almost like sticking out. And you can tell that also they tend to be off-colored. Now, and just so that you know, this tip and the next one, this is basically for those of you that have been around the silk rugs for long enough where you notice the difference. But if you are knowledgeable about the silk rugs, you will notice that natural silk is curly a little bit and it's off-colored, whereas synthetic silk tends to be very white, very clean, almost perfect looking. And so the more perfect it looks, the more likely it is synthetic. And also, like I said, part of the next, like I said, tips number 2 and 3 go hand in hand. The natural silk tends to be smoother. The synthetic silk just kind of gets unraveled. And like I said, you can see that in the pictures. Now, tip number 4, the knots on the back of the rugs. Take a phone, take a picture of an area of your silk rug and blow it up. And you will notice, just doesn't matter, doesn't have to be a large area. But one thing that you will always have, and this is what I always tell people, my clients, with the silk rugs, you actually have a higher chance of noticing imperfection. And keep in mind, these are hand knotted rugs. These are not machine made. And being as fine as they are and as detailed as they are, you expect there to be imperfection. On the machine-made rug, you can see right there, Nick sent me the picture, and look at the knots on the back. That is way too perfect to be genuine handmade. Now, sometimes you'll see, and again, you have Nick's and you have ours, and you can see how in ours, the handmade piece, between the knots, sometimes there's a tiny gaps. Some of the knots tend to be a little bit thicker than others. That's all sign that it's handmade. On Nick's piece, the knots are of the same size, just perfect dimensions. It's just absolutely way too smooth, way too even to be a handmade piece. And that's also typically a telltale sign. So take a phone, take a picture of an area of the rug, doesn't matter which area it is, blow it up and look for imperfections. Imperfections, sign that it is handmade. Now, lastly, and that has to do with signatures. On most Gome rugs, on the pure silk, the genuine pieces, you have the name of the workshop, and then it will say something like, I'm just going to use an example, Irami Gome Iran. Okay, perfect. Then you have the machine-made rugs. Now, a lot of the machine-made Gome rugs actually do not have signatures. As you can see in the examples of Derek right here and Nick's pieces, they don't have signatures. And I always tell people, signatures don't add value. It's a classic, it's a tradition in the weaving cultures of Gome, for example, to add the signatures, but unless you are dealing with a very small percentage of rugs, and you know exactly the type of rugs I'm talking about, famous weavers where you have documentation that this is special, don't pay extra for them. A lot of dealers make a big deal about signed carpets and how they're more valuable and all that stuff. That's BS. Don't let them talk you into it. Don't fall for it. But And then unfortunately, we don't deal in machine-made rugs. I only use, when I do get a machine-made rug in the store, I always use them in the videos to show you how not to get ripped off. But if you are looking at a Gome rug and the signature of the Gome, the signatures tend to be pixelated in machine-made rugs. Remember, these are computer-generated designs. The machines, they just basically, they do whatever it is the machines do, weave, shoot in the silk, whatever way they do it, but they tend to be pixelated. Whereas in the handmade signatures, when it's hand woven, you will have smooth signatures, but you will also sometimes have small mistakes. It's almost like, well, they wrote the letter A wrong or something, or they screwed something up. And so look for that in the signatures. So those are the 5 pointers. Now I'm going to add you guys 2 more. And that is, number 1, when you pay for a carpet and you're not too sure, or there's even the slightest bit of doubt about the seller's credibility, knowledge, or anything, make sure that you pay in a way that you can either return the rug, or that you have some sort of policy, that you have a return policy, something where you can take the rug, you can get it appraised, or you can have it evaluated or something. Because it's one thing to buy a rug, like in Nick's case. Nick bought the rug, he told me he paid about $1,000 for it, and he told me that it's okay for me to share this information with you. He was told that it was handmade, and given the size of the rug and how it looks, he's perfectly happy with what he got. He thought that he was being lied to, misled, when the dealer told him that it's handmade, because, as he pointed out, given the high quality of the rug and everything, it didn't make sense for a dealer to be selling him a rug for $1,000 when the rug could be worth a lot more than that, many times that. So he was under the assumption that it was not genuine, handmade, and he didn't really care about what the dealer had to say. He liked the rug. In Derek's case, that's a whole different story. He was told that it's handmade, and apparently he also paid a lot. And he's now going through the process of, he told me he was going to file a claim against the dealer. And the problem is, a lot of these rugs are sold in the bazaars and in the shops where there is a lot of tourism, and throughout the Middle East. The most common type of these type of things happens when I get calls and emails from folks who have been stationed overseas, for example. A lot of veterans who have done their tours and who have been stationed, whether it's in Bahrain, we have had Kuwait, we have had folks who have gone on cruises, Turkey, Egypt, and all that. Anywhere where there's tourism, you will oftentimes have shady stores that sell these types of carpets, knowing that when the person returns back to their country, they're either not going to be coming back, or there's really not a whole lot they can do about it. So whether it's the Persian rugs, whether it's the Turkish harike rugs, 2 things that I want you to be aware of. In them, unfortunately, there's a lot of fraud out there, whether, like I said, Turkish, Persian rugs, doesn't really matter. So if you are going to be making a substantial purchase overseas, number 1, make sure that you have the right to return the product if, for any reason. Rule of thumb, when it comes to carpets, jewelry, I don't care what it is. If you cannot return a product, don't spend a ton of money while you're on vacation. If you don't live in the country, and you're buying a $10,000 rug, and then you end up learning that it is machine made and you want to return it, well, good luck with you on that one. Unfortunately, I'm saying it with a bit of that German sarcasm in me, because it's literally, unfortunately, I get these types of things. So these are my two personal tips. Number one, always make sure that you have some sort of return policy and all that stuff. And number two, avoid foreign tourist traps, tourist places, bazaars, whatever. If someone tells you that they are good friends with someone, that's how a lot of my clients who have contacted me, this is how a lot of them get ripped off. I always tell people when it comes to these types of things, unfortunately, there's just an awful lot of fraud out there. So I wanted to share these two videos with you. I have many other videos like it in our channel. This is something that I do in my spare time, so I hope this video is of use, that it is of help to you. If you know someone who may have fallen victim to one of these types of scams, feel free to forward the video to them, let them know. Also, if you like our channel or if this video is of help, we always appreciate it when folks subscribe or like us. Again, there's a ton of information about the rugs, videos, all kinds of stuff in the description below, or you can visit us at mprugs.com. I'm going to be coming back to you with many more videos to come. In the meantime, I wish you and your family the very best. Again, I hope this video is of help to some of you. And until we see each other again, take care.